Thank you, Anthony. Digital traffic orders, a key building block to a road payment system. No. I know what you're all thinking. How does Darren Capes know how Tinder works? No, sorry. I'm Paul Chandler. I'm the service owner for the digital traffic orders service. And it was absolutely fantastic yesterday. We had a working group meeting here in the hotel. We had about 20-25 people there in person. And would you believe we had 180 people on the Teams call at peak? I've never done a Teams call with 180 people on it before. It went remarkably smoothly, apart from one moment of interference from someone who wasn't on mute. But it was an excellent meeting, and it reminded me just to go back to basics and talk for a second about what D-TRO is. So it is a centralised platform for the sending to us of traffic orders. We are not building any sort of app. We are not, building software or anything like that. There's no charge for the service for the Highway Authority. They're not going to be charged. So I just wanted to kind of bust those myths straight up, really, first of all. Right. Note here as well that we tried to go for some sort of shoehorning the word TRO into each agenda item and then just gave up. But now I will pass over to Gareth Tilley to do the intro.
Thanks, Paul. So what are TROs? I'm sure a lot of people in the room know a bit about them already, but they're effectively the rules of the road. There's different flavours, different types. There's permanent, temporary and experimental. But it's easier to talk about examples of what a TRO is. So I've given some of the most popular types here. So we've got if you've got a local authority introducing a residential area, parking restrictions, and then some of the more fun things like parades or street events. So if you want to do a road closure, that would be a temporary TRO. So they're quite old in the system, and I think people in this room working in transport technology, we've always got that interesting blend of legacy versus new technology coming in. They were first created in 1930. The processes are quite lengthy. It's kind of very much historically been a paper-based system. So these paper documents will be traditionally stored in, filing cabinets in local authorities. And they were last updated significantly in legislation in 1984. So, as I say, it's quite an old process and very much paper-based historically. That said, a lot of the local authorities, they've got digital solution providers already in place and they're using their software to digitize and gather data out of TROs to put that in a digital format. But the legal process and the legal basis is still very much paper-based. When we're thinking about the future, very much one of the benefits and one of the aims for the project is to create a kind of storage facility for that data, which will then enable us to look ahead for, the future in terms of car for autonomous. So vehicles like that will know, or at least we've got some kind of semblance of some of the data needed for the rules of the road effectively.
So long-time TTF goers might remember that I was at the Leeds event last year, and I think at that point we were maybe just starting the alpha or preparing to start the alpha. So that was a very successful part of the project. We built our proof of concept. We passed our GDS assessment with flying colours. That's the people in government that check digital projects. And over the last few months, we've been getting ready to go into the beta. That's the fun bit. That's where you actually get the thing built. And that started in February. And we are right in the thick of it at the moment. There are people back at base who work alongside Gareth for PA Consulting, who are building the service as we speak. But you can see that it goes right back to 2018. when that North Highland report first came out, that data discovery, and it's been quite a long gestation period, but we are really into the meat of the thing now and the build, and Gareth will be telling you about the timelines shortly. I just wanted to talk about the legislation before that. So it's the Automated Vehicles Bill. It's currently working through Parliament. It's had various readings. I think there's a key date in May when it's going to be, ready to be entered into law, essentially. And that Automated Vehicles Bill is what is going to make it a legal requirement for orders to be submitted into the central platform. And the intention is for that to come into law on the 1st of April 2025. Now, there may be an introductory period, possibly, of a few months. We've not worked that out yet. But that is the intention, that from the 1st of April 2025, organisations will need to have compliance software. Could be something you've built yourselves, could be something that you've got off the shelf, to send permanent and temporary orders, all types of orders, into the D-TRO service. So without further ado, I'll pass back to Gareth for a little talk about how the service actually works.
So it's obviously a technology forum, so I thought I'd be the first to put up an architecture slide. It's quite a simple architecture, though. It's an API-first service. It's important, as it's been said, it's similar to MPP. It's not an app. So on the left-hand side, we've effectively got the input API, which will be from traffic regulation authorities, gathering that data from them, but also their digital solution providers. That will go into our data store, and then we've got an extract API as well, just to query that data effectively for a kind of whole range of people who will be interested in that data. So it's quite a simple construct and simple architecture as well. So just in terms of the timelines, we started in February, as Paul said. We did a brief, a month's kind of validation phase to look through the good work, the previous work that had been done before, in particular on areas like the data model, which has really progressed over a number of stages. Currently, though, the most exciting stuff is we're now building the minimum viable product. So that work, that build is underway as we speak. And a part of that process will be developing the API specification for people to input their data into the platform, very much built on the existing data model, and we're planning to issue that towards the end of May. In terms of the private beta, we'll want a small group, a small cohort to join the service by the end of the summer. And then that phase is very much around testing, getting the service right, getting the feedback from the users so it's fit for purpose, and then it can be ready to scale, and with full public beta, full launch by the end of the calendar year. So that's our timeline for D-TRO.
Thank you very much, Gareth. So I think, you'll be hearing from us as we go through the next few months. You'll hopefully be sick of the sight of us. We've already got a webinar booked in for the 1st of May, for instance. The link for that just went out in the last couple of days. There'll be newsletters, no doubt. We've now got the TTF website up and running. I should say that is now available. So there'll be all sorts of comms channels. Have no fear of that. We'll probably knock out some YouTube videos and stuff like we did for Street Manager. But yeah, some of you in this room might want to participate in the private beta. Some of you might be ready ahead of April 2025 and want to take part in the public beta by the end of the year. I think the key message for me is if you've already got software and you produce your TROs digitally, your life won't change too much. But if you do need to go and procure some software, you should be cracking on with that over 2024, ready for 2025. And the last thing I should add is that it is for new orders only. That will be the legal requirement for new orders. But if you do want to send us your old orders, you'll be able to do that from day one. I hope I'm on time and haven't overrun my time too much. Thanks very much for listening.